Hello, everybody. My name is Dusty,
My name's Kevin.
and welcome to the Double Take Podcast, where review made you say what and do a double take this week.
You're listening to the Double Take Podcast. Double Take Podcast.
What?
See what we did there? Where your hosts review what made you say,
What?
What? What?
What
happened?
And do a double take this week. Welcome to the show. This is Double Take.
Okay, let's jump into the news that made us stop and do a double take this week. Healthy dog euthanized to fulfill late owner's wishes of burial with her pet. In Richmond, Virginia, over the protest of shelter workers, a healthy dog was euthanized so she could be buried with her dead owner in accordance with the Virginia woman's will. Emma was euthanized at the area veterinarian's office and then cremated. The local news station reported that the dog, Emma's ashes, were given to the representative of the state. Virginia law sees dogs as personal property, and while it's not illegal to euthanize a pet, ethical concerns may prevent vets from performing the procedure. So, Kevin, what do you think?
I have a question concerning this. So, let's say the dog died first. Let's kill the woman.
I do have
That's illegal.
That's a
right?
very valid question, because if it was in her will, it makes me question when the last time she updated her will
Exactly.
was. What happens if it wasn't Emma? What happens if it was a different dog? You know, or what happens if the dog did die before her? What would she have done?
Right.
Just put the ashes with her. Actually, I suppose that probably wouldn't.
Well, I guess, but I mean, what I'm saying
That threw our prediction out of the water.
no, my problems are clearly. I mean, I get wanting to be buried with your dog, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you obviously have like the head of the estate in the will, cremated the dog, euthanized the dog. Why didn't just have that person, stay with the dog till it died and then bury her?
Well, that's a good question. It's probably somebody from a lawyer's office, but you know what irritates me about this is that dog could have been put in a happy, healthy home. After all, it was already in an animal shelter.
Exactly.
It was just like they went there and took it out. Now, as somebody who works in an animal shelter, we would have fought that. Unfortunately, though, in other states, there aren't shelters that are properly funded to be able to do this sort of thing. It is kind of interesting, though, as somebody who has also worked at a vet clinic, a lot of veterinarians wouldn't perform this procedure no matter what, even if it was listed as personal property. The veterinarians I used to work for used to tell people, if you can't take care of them, we'll take care of them for you and make sure they go into a good home rather than euthanize them.
Right.
It's just...
It's just ridiculous. Like, I want to end this dog's life because I died.
Yeah, that's just...
And it was probably perfectly healthy. It
was perfectly healthy. It was only like 4 years old.
It doesn't make any sense.
Which is another thing where, like, if you're an older person, why are you getting a puppy?
Exactly. I mean, yeah, it's just nuts.
We adopt out sometimes to people who are like 90, 80. And, there's nothing wrong with that. They could live a full, healthy life. But why are you looking at a puppy? Something small.
There's plenty of old dogs that need to go home with people, and
Yeah.
relax, and that would be better fit.
Yeah, I just, this story just always... When I first read the story, I literally stopped and said, the fuck?
I hope she's rotting in
Like,
hell.
this is awful. Well, and, I hope the estate, the person who runs the estate is also rotting in hell, too.
Yeah,
because
like, come on, dude.
I get that they are listed as property. There's not much you can do about it, but I still would have pressed the issue.
They wouldn't have known. They're dead.
Well, unless the person who's in charge of the estate is a family member or next of kin, that's the other thing, too. They would have known.
More right to do it. She was probably insane.
All right, moving on. Between Two Ferns, the movie with Zach Galifianakis confirmed.
Hi, welcome to another edition of Between Two Ferns. I'm your host, Zach Galifianakis.
Netflix and Zach Galifianakis have confirmed that the long-rumored movie version of a Funny or Die series, Between Two Ferns, will bow globally September 2nd. The premise? Zach Galifianakis dreamed of becoming a star, but Will Ferrell discovered his public access TV Between Two Ferns and uploaded it to Funny or Die. Zach became a viral laughingstock. Now Zach and his crew are taking a road trip to complete a series of high-profile celebrity interviews and restore his reputation. Kevin, what do you think?
God is real. I'm so happy about this. I love the show. The best ones definitely are like Hillary Clinton, Obama, and my favorite is Justin Bieber.
No.
He basically beat him.
I don't like your attitude, to be quite honest.
You're mad.
Because, you know what? You're too young to be smoking pot and pee-peeing in buckets and driving up and down the highway fast. I don't think your mom would really mind if a stranger whipped her son.
You're spanking me, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Steve
show.
Carell. Like, that was like the
Steve Carell is
first one.
funny too. Yeah.
The only French words are buffet and croissant.
Actually brought a few things I'd like to say to you.
G-force? More like, gee, he's fat. The only French word you know is buffet.
That's not true. I know the word croissant.
I heard your last name used to be even longer, but you ate all the other letters of the alphabet. Zach, you look like a homeless guy who's been to a soup kitchen that specializes in ice cream soup.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. I think it's a great show. I'm so happy it's coming back. I was watching Comedians in Cars Eating Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld, and he like did a mock Between Two Ferns with him, and I think it was Nicki Minaj, and he basically was just like being such a dick to Jerry Seinfeld.
Well,
Jerry Seinfeld, the king of
that's
comedy.
the reason why I like
So
the show,
funny.
because it like gives him an excuse to be a dick to these people.
Right.
Like Hillary Clinton was probably the funniest
Yeah.
thing I've ever seen. You know,
To take away from the historic significance of you perhaps becoming the first female president, but for a younger generation, you will also become their first white president. You supported Obama's Trans-Pacific Partnership deal, and then you were against it. I think that people deserve to know, are you down with TPP?
I'm not down with TPP.
No, you're supposed to say, yeah, you know me. Like the hip-hop group.
Don't tell me what to say.
Fine, lose. Country goes to shit.
not even from a political standpoint, but even like Obama's was funny. How did you get in
Yeah.
here? Well, George Bush let me in.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just a genius.
Thanks for letting me shoot my show here all these years.
You've been shooting these shows here in the diplomatic room? Who gave you permission to do that?
Bush.
Seriously? Who gave him clearance?
Yeah, it's a great show. I'm so happy for Zach, and Netflix is just making more and more
Banked.
hits. Yeah, and it's just I can't wait.
Yeah, you mentioned comedians in cars getting coffee, and I feel like this is gonna blow it out of the water. I do like that show periodically, but this one, I just like it because it gives Zach a reason to be rude to everybody, and he doesn't care.
Sure.
He's mean to everybody.
Yeah.
Whereas with Jerry Seinfeld in comedians in getting cars with coffee, like he's usually really nice, really civil, more
Well-
of an interview. This is just a mock of the person that's on it.
The reason that he's nice or he likes the people that are on there because he gets to pick who's on his show. That's why he only picks people he likes.
I'm
Jerry
sure-
Seinfeld's always been like that, but for sure, this gives Zach all of the reason to be a huge a-hole
To
and
everyone.
It makes it so funny.
I'm super excited to watch that. Yeah,
Will Ferrell better be on there. That would be the best one.
He should be the first person.
He should be.
Yeah.
That would make it right.
All right. Moving on. A walking argument for birth control. The award of the week goes to a man gives false name to police while wearing ID tags with his real name on it. A man in Nebraska attempted to give a false name to police, but things didn't go exactly as planned. Lincoln police officers arrived just after 10 p.m. on Tuesday in response to a domestic assault and search for a suspect, identified as 26-year-old Markle Towner, who had 2 arrest warrants. Police found a man who matched Towner's description seated in a parked vehicle outside the residence where they were dispatched. An officer asked the man for his name. He said it was D'Angelo Towns. Then the officer observed a lanyard around the man's neck with the name Markle Towner on it. When the officer told Towner he was under arrest, he tensed up, resisted, and yelled at officers that he didn't do anything wrong. The officer struggled with Towner for several minutes, and they went to the ground where Towner grabbed one of the officer's duty belts during the struggle. Some of Towner's friends and family surrounded the officer in an attempt to intervene and prevent the arrest. Towner was eventually taken into custody without injury. He's charged with resisting arrest, obstructing a government operation, false reporting, child neglect, and third-degree domestic assault. What do you think, Kevin?
He's a keeper. Yeah.
Honestly, when I read this article the first time, I was just like, he deserves to go to jail.
You're like, Jesus. You lie about your name in front of cops when you're wearing your real goddamn name on your chest.
He might just get his tattooed on
Yeah.
his forehead with his
I'm
name.
an
you know?
idiot. I am lying to you.
If you're going to lie to police, at least do it well.
Also,
don't lie to police, but if
Oh,
you
yeah.
do it well.
Yeah, or have a brain. Like, this guy's a pea brain, dude. Like, I don't know. Okay, he probably. Oh, all cops are stupid, dude. They don't know. They can read, bro. They can read the big flyer on your chest that, hey, I am not who I'm saying I am.
My question is, would it have taken any more effort just to take off the name tag? Like,
Yeah,
honestly.
Oh, the cops here. Maybe I should take my name badge off before I lie about my name. Or, hey, give him your real name.
That's like those people who are going to be drug searched, and the cop asks very nicely, do you have anything on you? And usually they're pretty understanding, and they say no. and then the cops search and find it anyway, and then they get busted and they get heavy fines and go to
Exactly.
jail when it all could have just been resolved quite simply.
Exactly. My sister smokes the marijuana.
Wacky
And-
tobacco.
Yeah, wacky tobacco. And here in Wisconsin, where we are, it is still illegal. We're not like you guys in California and Colorado and Illinois. Actually, I think
Washington?
just passed it. Washington, all these great. These states. So my sister got pulled over, and the cop was like, "Do you have anything in your car I'm not going to want to find?" And she just goes, "Yes, I have about an ounce of weed in my glove compartment." And the guy goes, "All right," takes it, searches the car for everything else, and then he just confiscates the weed and said, "Well, here's a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt."
Yeah.
And
see,
then
you know-
goes away. You know what I'm saying?
I work security at the largest music festival in the world, and we're not allowed to arrest people, right? But we are allowed to escort them off the grounds. And usually when we're going to find somebody that was smoking marijuana or drinking underage, we just simply take it away from them. But if they lie to us, right, that's a whole different situation. Just give it over, move on.
Exactly.
And, you know, those tickets, as long as you're not carrying a pound of weed,
Exactly. It's
are
gonna be
usually
like, yeah,
minimal.
Yeah.
It's not worth going to jail over. These guys.
So,
I just
anyway,
have nothing for this guy.
This guy's just an idiot, and I don't feel sorry for him at all.
But the moral of the story is, if you're gonna lie to police,
Why
do
would-
it well.
Yeah, come on.
Next, man goes to girlfriend's house and realizes he's previously slept with her mother. Meeting your other half's parents is always an awkward one, but just imagine how much worse it could be if you turned out to be at the house only to realize that you've already slept with one of their parents. That was the horrific situation one man found himself in when he went to his girlfriend's family home and discovered he slept with her mom. Yikes. Taking to Reddit to share his story, the 21-year-old explained that while he's from a big town, there are only around 3 decent clubs to go out in. A couple months ago, he wrote, I was at this nice rock bar with a live band, drinking with a big group of work friends. I noticed a blonde woman was glancing over a few times, so I got up to her, make some small talk, and asked for her number as I couldn't really leave my friends. We texted a little bit and nothing came of it. However, the pair ended up meeting again, grabbing a couple of drinks and went home together. Although he noticed she was a lot older than him, he thought nothing of it, and little did he know what was to come. A couple weeks later, he met his 19-year-old girlfriend on Tinder, and they hit it off. When she invited him back to her place, aka her parents' place, that's when he realized it was the same place of his previous hookup. Awkward. He continued, my heart sank when I watched this lovely girl turn and face me. This is me, while gesturing to the same door that I went through for a cheap one-night stand. Surprisingly, he decided to tell her there and then, perhaps realizing that there was just no other way to play this. She was shocked, very shocked, when she realized that it wasn't joking when I got her mom's name right. I knew she was level-headed from our first few dates, so thankfully she actually understood and didn't attack me. We did agree we can't keep seeing each other, duh, but I really did like her, which can be rare for me, so it really sucks. She didn't mention her parents' marriage, and I didn't want to ask. I also don't know how the house was free a couple months ago. All I know is that I fucked up. Kevin?
You sure did there, pal.
Well, you know, Kevin has a girlfriend, right? And they're having a kid. What would you say if the first time you went back to her place, you realized it was a place you had a cheap one-night stand?
Oh, well, you see, I wouldn't have been in that situation.
Okay, let's just say it was Anne Hathaway.
Wow.
And
Well,
you walked
see,
back
okay,
to the
but
house.
to be honest, this dude really didn't do anything wrong. He didn't. Did he know the 19-year-old girl before? No, he didn't.
No, he met her on Tinder.
So yeah, so he really didn't do anything wrong. He just was
It's
looking
not,
for.
it's not like he met her in the house.
was
So
looking
it's
for
like,
a little-
oh, hey,
yeah,
let's
he's looking
go
for a
out
little
sometime.
friction from a friend, and he found this.
And he borrowed it from her
girl-
mother.
He really didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he was just borrowing some friction from a friend, and it just happened to be probably a 45-year-old woman.
Well, I will say is that I'm glad they didn't continue to see each other because that would have been
That would
excruciating.
No,
Can you
no
imagine
way.
family dinners?
Hey, also kudos to him because he was so mature enough to be like, "Hey,
Just to let you know,
I fucked your mom.
your mom is hot.
Yeah, and she's great, but I can't see you anymore." And this is so. I mean, hey, they were mature about it. This must have been in the UK because in the United States they would have just not said anything.
And then continue doing
Yeah.
both people at the same time.
Hence, this happens in the South. Sorry, South states, but come on.
Hey, Southern not stupid.
Since the birth of our nation, the North has been dumping on the South. As the country grew, so did the stereotype of Southerners. Eventually, Hollywood produced things like Dukes of Hazzard, Beverly Hillbillies, Deliverance. The country actually viewed these as documentaries about the South. Well, enough is enough. I'm here to tell everyone that we are Southern, not stupid.
I didn't say they were stupid. You're insinuating.
Okay, next. Bizarre underground bomb shelter mansion listed in Las Vegas for $18 million. Hey, Kevin, do you have $18 million?
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me just go to the bank real quick.
Chump change. The famous Las Vegas underground house has been making news for years as one of the most bizarre properties in the world. Located 2 miles east of the center of the Las Vegas Strip, this outrageous 14,620 square foot concrete and steel doomsday bunker was created to survive a nuclear war. The bomb shelter home includes a yard with a pool, spa, trees, and guest house, barbecue, a fountain, and is surrounded by 500 feet of floor-to-ceiling murals of city and mountain views with lighting that stimulates day and dusk and dawn. Camouflaged by rocks, an entrance complete with an elevator takes you deep into the underground home, with an additional staircase hidden in the backyard shed. While not truly built to withstand a nuclear blast, the property is 26 feet below the surface and could be remodeled and converted to become an authentic nuclear shelter. Filled with fake trees, fake flowers, 2 elevators, security systems, and intercom system that the home includes a lighting system that makes the home duplicate the real outdoors, including mimicking sunset, daytime, dusk. There are even several lights and stars built into the sky, blue ceiling with clouds.
Question number 1. This house is listed for, what was it? $18 million. And it's not even really nuclear proof?
No, but you could make a nuclear. But you have to remember that the property, right, has a guest house upstairs. So it's an entire house on top to make it look like it's not a bomb shelter. Yeah, and then you go down into the basement.
Well, that house better be bomb for $18 million. And okay.
Not gonna lie, the pictures did include a pink flamingo.
Oh, that's great.
It looks like it was kept in the 70s. That's what I'll say.
But I mean, I just don't get it, man. Okay, it's a nice house and it's cool and great and all, but I'm paying $18 million for a bomb shelter house. It better be actually bomb proof when it's not even bomb proof. So yeah, you could make it. I can make this house bomb proof.
But you have to remember too that
and probably save a lot less than spend less than $18 million.
Yeah, but you also have to think about it this way: is back when it was built, there probably wasn't the same technology as we do today to prevent those things.
Or nuclear bombs got better.
Yeah, but I also kind of think that it wasn't necessarily built to withstand a bomb anyway. It was mostly just built to ease minds, like one of those things where you can't really prevent the nuclear attack from happening, but you can at least pretend like you're going to survive.
I get that. Peace of mind, I guess.
Yeah, I really don't think that. Looking at the pictures, I wasn't really too impressed with it. It definitely needs to be remodeled for $18 million.
Yeah.
But for $18 million, you could have a really cool party house.
I have an underground house and bomb shelter house in GTA that was a little less than that.
Okay, moving on. 2 Texas men died Friday after they tried to jump over an open drawbridge with their car. Louisiana State Police responded to a single car crash shortly after 2 a.m. at the Black Bayou Bridge, about 6 miles south of Lake Charles. Investigators said the bridge was closed to traffic to let a boat pass. A witness told police that the passengers got out of the car and pushed the gate arm up. The man then got back into the car as the driver drove towards the ramp at the end of the bridge. The driver stopped briefly, reversed, and then accelerated forward in an attempt to jump the ramp of the bridge. The car landed in the water and sank to the bottom. The driver was found inside the car, and the passenger was found outside the vehicle after the first managing to escape, investigators said. The men, whose identities have not been revealed, are pronounced dead at the scene. Kevin?
Well, one guy kind of got out.
The question is, when he was struggling to get out, right? Did he die because he didn't have oxygen? Was that the reason he died, or was it for his injuries?
Probably broke his neck.
But he still managed to get out of the car, which is impressive in itself. They jumped a drawbridge, and at least one of them might have survived a little bit.
Also, that passenger was like, "Don't do it, Bob."
He's the one who got out of the car and lifted the arm.
No, it said the men got out.
Yeah,
So they both got out.
I think it was one of those things where they tried to be cool and did what they
died.
thought in the movies and died. But
everything's bigger in Texas, right?
I think,
including death.
I think the sad part is they weren't that old either. They were probably between 18 and 30.
I'm sure that's the way they wanted to go.
You and I, if we were driving, I would not be like, "Hey, Kevin, let's try to jump a bridge and see what happens."
Yeah, well, we're adults. There's some people that never grow up. Hence, them trying to jump a drop is like it's
I kind of
Fast Five.
I kind of blame their parents. Like, did their
Yeah,
parents
come
try
on.
this and then talk about it?
They probably always talk about, hey, Billy Bob Jordan, don't you want? I should stop. But you know what I'm saying?
There goes the entire lower half of the United
Yeah.
States watching, listening to this.
Please listen.
No, we're sorry.
Double
We
Take Podcast.
Don't mean
please
to
listen.
offend, but the union will rise again.
We may talk slow, but our cooking can be beat. We've got good manners and our tea is always sweet. It's a different way of life can be disputed. Cause we're Southern, not stupid.
No. Abraham Lincoln will rise from the grave.
Well, the union will rise. We always rise.
Anyway, yeah, if the passengers, you would think that the passengers' parents have to be involved in this. Like, come on. Also, I mean, like, my dad, our parents, both of our parents would never let us do anything even close to this. So we know
Mine
not
might.
to. Well, with enough Jack Daniels, but I mean, but like, but that's what I'm trying to say. Well, they could have been. Oh yeah. Well, you also don't know if they were under the influence, if they were, you know, of
Maybe they were
drugs or
hallucinating.
alcohol. Yeah, maybe they're on some awesome, great acid that's terrible. Don't do it. But
Try half if you like it. Try the other half.
exactly, Burt Kreischer, the Machine, one of the best jokes ever.
But anyway, guys, that was the news for this week. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week when we say, what the fuck? And dive into more news that made us stop and do a double take. Bye.
See ya.